Okay, before we start this video, I want to show you this video segment of a teacher who put a test out. And I saw this some years ago, and I wanted to show you guys before we move on. This is all related, and I want to keep it all related and interwoven. So let's start with this video.
We're going to grow some plants inside of there, one of them without Wi-Fi signal, one of them with Wi-Fi signal. They're called Faraday cages. So one of them will be putting out radiation where the other one is not going to be doing that.
I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't really know.
I don't know, because it's just like this plastic thing with technology in it. But like, we don't know if that will affect the plants.
I don't really feel like radiation affects me in any way, so I don't feel like it's going to affect another living thing like a plant.
Yeah, one of them is going to be exposed to high levels, and the whole reason that we've covered them in tin foil is because the environment of this classroom is filled with that.
It's gonna die.
You think so?
Yeah. It blew my mind that the Wi-Fi off, like, the plants are growing.
Yeah.
But Wi-Fi on, the plants are growing. So I think that when the Wi-Fi's on, it's affecting the world, like affecting the whole entire world.
First thing I would look up is what else can it hurt?
What?
Our brain, our arms, our legs. Does Wi-Fi hurt our body physically and mentally? Could it affect your sperm count and decrease population?
Have any countries or cities banned Wi-Fi?
All of these studies. Do you have Wi-Fi in your house?
No, I've been in the technology industry all my life, and I've never had Wi-Fi.
Because?
Well, I just didn't feel it was right. I didn't feel it was safe. And my wife has been very actually forceful about not having that. Now, you can run a longer wire. It's a bit annoying.
Now, I truly commend this teacher for doing this test and doing it with his students. That means there's one intelligent, non-bootlicker teacher out there, and at least a classroom of kids walked away with the hopes of not being RF dumbasses. Every classroom in the world should be teaching children about the effects of RF, EF, ELF, and every other frequency. People are completely and totally ignorant to it and the effects that it can have on people, and that is a crime in my eyes. It really is. They're not being educated at all. They're being indoctrinated. So now, before we get into the meat of this video, I want to play this segment that I was putting in another video that I didn't release. It is referring to the effects that RF, ELF, EMF, and all these different frequencies can have on people, and how we are dealing with everybody, not just TIs and people who hear voices, but a majority of the people are being affected. So I'm going to let that play right now. When I cover these weapons and the negative electrosmog that we currently live in, I am often referring to people who are being affected by these frequencies without even realizing it. Not only people with behavioral and what is referred to as mental health issues, but also people with very real physical symptoms. As it is a fact that not only do frequencies create mental and mood disturbances, they can also create very real physical symptoms. And frequencies can also mimic anything that a drug can. For example, frequencies can cause dopamine dumps in the human body, which could essentially OD somebody, especially if they're already on an opioid or some other drug. You know, most people affected by these frequencies are not being overtly or obviously attacked. It's more subtle. And, you know, with the normalization of all this, let's take the comment section from the airline worker who stole the airplane that I was talking about a couple videos ago. In that comment section, bots or paid posters attempted to normalize this by stating that the intrusive thoughts just won out that day, as if everybody out there is receiving intrusive thoughts. We know for a fact that this didn't exist like it does now. None of these intrusive thoughts were out there like they are now. And if that many people are receiving these quote-unquote intrusive thoughts, are they all TIs? The number of people not being affected becomes the minority. And if you believe that I'm only referring to TIs after all this time, you are gravely minimizing everything that I have ever talked about on this channel. So let's clear this up. Let's go over a list of people who can be suffering from the effects of RF, ELF, EMF, and high frequencies, whether those be intentional, weaponized, or from the abundance of RF, ELF that surrounds everybody in this present landscape that we live in, this electrosmog. So, people with tinnitus, or rather artificial tinnitus, people who hear the hum, people affected with Alzheimer's or dementia, people with Morgellons, people who have psychic messages sent to them, people who have channeled messages from the dead, people who have channeled messages from aliens, people who have channeled messages from angels or demons, people with ADHD, people with diabetes, people with arthritis, people with anxiety, people with depression, people dealing with bipolar disorder, anyone with an internal dialogue that doesn't feel or seem natural, people experiencing weight gain out of the blue, especially children. Wi-Fi and wireless frequencies can cause this, and it can be intentional. People experiencing vision issues, worsening vision, snow in their vision, static in their vision, flashing in their vision, seeing fireworks in their vision at night, etc. People dealing with artificial hauntings, haunted houses, paranormal events, etc. People dealing with sleep disturbances, sleep paralysis, chronic sleep talking. People dealing with insomnia. People dealing with narcolepsy. People dealing with chronic fatigue. People with Crohn's disease. People with electro-hypersensitivity disorder. People who commit suicide, attempt to commit suicide, or have suicide-like tendencies. People who hear voices. People who feel shocks and pains. People who feel vibrations on or within their body. People who feel chronic cramping of their muscles. Everyone who equates their negative symptoms to ascension. People dealing with quote-unquote schizophrenia. People with lupus. People with allergies. Almost all other autoimmune syndromes. People experiencing Havana syndrome. People who have rage disorders. I could keep going and going and going, but I'm going to stop because that's the point that I wanted to make. All of these can be caused by weaponized or just negative frequencies around people. So once you really look at this and chop up the pie chart, how many people are not being affected by this in one way or another? And that is what my videos have aimed to show people over the years. I'm not sure if I brought up arthritis or not in that list, but I should have. You know, you have all types of physical and neurological effects happening to people. And don't you find it strange, this is tied in as well, that RF can cause dopamine dumps in the human brain. Now, all the missing 411 people out there are wondering how GHB is getting into people's systems and making them do crazy things. You know, one guy woke up floating down a river. I know all these cases front to back. And he woke up floating down a river, had no idea how. He got from the water to the bank. He was floating on his back, made it to a hospital, had no idea how he got into the water or anything. Now, a lot of these people have been drinking alcohol. And you need to think about this because none of them ever consider technology. If you're in a field, a particular field of waves, you can cause dopamine dumps in people. You can certainly cause GHB dumps. The human body makes GHB. So none of this is ever considered when people are talking about this. It always goes to the paranormal or something like that. In fact, the people that are into this missing 411 stuff never look up technology and do the research into technology. And when you've been researching it for, years and years and years, you know what this technology is capable of doing. RF can do anything that something physical can do. RF can do anything that a drug can do. RF can do more than all these things. For example, in the video about the Uber driver incident, I had mentioned missing 411, and somebody says, you claim that missing 401 cases are caused by these sound frequencies. Actually, I said they're caused by frequencies, not just sound frequencies. And I didn't say all of them, I said a majority of them. And then it says, but how do you explain when the bodies of those who are never found or are found in areas already searched? Well, it's not me with an opinion. You can look up the patents and the technology that can do this, right? And it's right there for everybody to see. So let's check this out real quick. I actually left the person a link. Let's scope it. Now you can do these with radio frequencies, plasma, all kinds of shit, and they are experimenting with it all over. Here a new patent enables invisibility through cloaking and deflection at microwave frequencies. And then when you get into it, they're talking about electromagnetic cloaking, deflection of satellites, rockets, towers, antennas, vehicles, body coverings, people, ships, spacecraft, and many others, each uniquely recognized as novel inventions. So, you can find patent after patent after patent and other information that isn't patented, and they just take it. This is why we are so behind technology-wise. And the public doesn't have it, because all these inventions go dark and they keep them very hidden, and people believe that they're that they're theory, when they're not. They're not theory at all. You can hide all kinds of things with frequencies, and they're not just sound frequencies. They are all types of frequencies. EF, electrical fields, then you have EMF, and then you have ELF. And then you have all different sorts of frequencies that are in the tool set to do practically whatever they want, including affect the human mind. And that's what I want to get into in this video, is affecting the human mind and what is going on. And this is why I put that list of symptoms into this video, because people are continuously making this about TIs. Everybody is being affected by these frequencies. Not just the straight up weaponized ones. People are being affected that are just living within them, because these frequencies have a negative effect on the body, the central nervous system, the cranial nervous system, all of it. So let's check out what's going on. So you have all these people out there that are suddenly being arrested for DUIs that are completely sober. And they're being arrested because they are failing field sobriety tests. Now, this is a brand new thing. We know that. One may have happened here and there before, but now it is happening all the time. And you need to really think about this. Why is this happening all the time? It is happening because people's nervous systems are being fried out and shot from this crap. And I can show you what I'm talking about. When you sleep around Wi-Fi for, 6-8 hours, whatever, and you wake up, you may feel shaky, you feel weird, you don't feel steady on your feet. And people do not turn off their Wi-Fi, man. They sleep with that shit going 24 hours a day, or they shut it off and they live in apartments where the other 12 apartments around them all have Wi-Fi cranking. Or there's a cell tower next to their house, or whatever the circumstances may be, they are being smothered with this stuff. It is absolutely insane. So with all these cases happening, you got these kids, younger people that are being pulled over and they're being checked out and they're going to jail and they have nothing in their system because their bodies cannot physically pass a field sobriety test. Think about that. So let's check this out.
7, 8, 9.
But it's clear from Wood's body cam, after putting the 22-year-old through a series of tests and looking into his eyes, he thought Cash was drunk.
See, a lot of these tests go by the eyes. They conduct the test with the light pen. Now, what are they looking for? They're looking for tremors in your eyes. You don't move your head. Your eyes follow the light. And they are looking for jerking and tremors. Now, that is a typical symptom of RF, being exposed to RF. You have tremors. I'm going to get into that, but let's keep playing it.
Are you sure you only had one beer and one shot? Yes, sir. Because that's not what I'm seeing.
And he's not seeing it. He's seeing that the guy's messed up because this guy is probably exposed to RF, ELF, Wi-Fi, wireless, all these different frequencies 24/7. We are being pelted with this shit 24/7, 365.
But Officer Wood failed to put in his report something he did see. The results of a breathalyzer field test to detect alcohol. Cash blew a 000. No alcohol detected, not just once, but 8 times at the scene.
So he did 8 breathalyzer tests and all blew zeros. He even borrowed another guy's breathalyzer and blew zeros.
The officer even trying a different device borrowed from his sergeant.
Giving 000s.
Yet they still decided to charge Aaron Cash with DUI.
I think I'm probably about to lose my job too.
See, that sucks. They designed these field sobriety tests back before people were exposed to this shit all the time. And what was normal then is not normal anymore. Everybody behaves this way, and I bet you that the cop giving the test would fail it if somebody gave it to him right now, because everybody is around this crap 24/7.
At the jail, Officer Wood called in a Jefferson police officer who was certified to use a more elaborate alcohol sensor. Cash blew 2 more times and then waited for the Jefferson cop to read the results.
He starts looking through the paperwork, and then he looks up at me, looks over at the arresting officer, looks back at me, says, "Is this an effing joke?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Because you blew 000s twice. Like, you're not drunk. I don't know why you're here."
Even though he had...
So, this is happening all over now, all the time. And it didn't happen before. This is a new phenomenon, right? It's brand new, just in recent years. This did not happen before. And now you have all these people, hundreds of them. If you look them up on YouTube, there are hundreds of them. And they're happening all the time. And it just goes to show you that what is normal now wasn't normal before.
Now past 10 breath tests, would still charge Cash with drunk driving.
Is doing people wrong.
Now, listen to what they say here. This is another case of a woman being pulled over, and she goes to jail for a DUI and did not have any drugs or alcohol in her system.
Tommy Rucker got a call from his niece last October that she was being charged with driving under the influence of drugs. The retired cop headed to the scene.
I said, she don't drink, she don't do drugs, she just left the house.
There were no drugs in Ashley Faust's car. Officer Wood determined she was impaired because he decided she failed the field test.
Now, how did he decide that she failed the field test? Listen to this.
In his report, her eyelids had tremors.
Eyelids had tremors. This is a typical symptom of being exposed to too much RF, ELF, anything that can affect your central nervous system. This is a typical symptom.
Throughout one of the tests. On January 8th, her blood test results finally came back. All clean, no drugs, and the city dropped all charges.
That's the problem. The problem is that these people have probably lost their jobs, You lose your driver's license, you know, while they're figuring this out. You lose all kinds of things, and it is the norm now. Now, I bet if they pulled everybody over, a big percentage of people would have these same tremors and things that did not happen before, that didn't happen when these field sobriety tests were invented. But now it's happening because people's central nervous systems are being affected by this. And it's happening everywhere. Here is a study of cell tower health effects. And the table of contents, I won't, show you all the pages. I'll just show you the table of contents, okay? We have cancer, health effects, cancer, neurological effects, effects on reproductive organs, effects on well-being, effects on sleep, effects on cells, effects on eyes, oxidative stress, effects on blood, death, effects on hormones, genetic effects, effects on glands, effects on animals and environment, effects on skin, effects on protein, effects on immune function, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, RF levels in cities, effects on water, RF levels from cell towers, danger, perception, and symptoms. When you start to go over these and you start to really look it up, you will see it everywhere. This is why people are failing field sobriety tests. And this information is everywhere. All you have to do is search for it and you can find it. So, here's advances in human biology, and here are effects of radio frequency electromagnetic field exposure on neurophysiology. And it goes through everything that can happen. So, all you have to do is research it. The information is there for you to find. It's not even hidden, you just have to look for it. This is the National Library of Medicine, and here is an article, a big article, on the possible effects of radio frequency electromagnetic field exposure on central nervous system. And it goes into all types of EMF and RF having an effect on the nervous system, which will cause eye tremors, balance, problems with your inner ears, pressure, all symptoms of EMF, EF, ELF, which can have effect on your balance. So when they ask you to stand on one foot, or ask you to walk with foot in front of foot, or ask you to follow the light pin with your eyes, all of that is basically bunk science now, because everybody is being affected by this. And here is the last one I will show you. These are symptoms attributed to radio frequency electromagnetic fields, and I'll show you the list real quick. These are alphabetically listed. So we have abdominal pain, anxiety, appetite loss, arousal decreased, blood pressure increase, breathlessness, chest pain, concentration difficulties, crankiness, daytime sleepiness, digestive problems, dizziness, dry skin, exhaustion, faintness, fatigue, fear, feebleness, feeling hot, forgetfulness, hair loss, headache, head pressure, heartbeat irregularity, heart palpitation, hormonal disorder, hypersensitivity to medication, hypersensitivity to noise, intestinal trouble, irregular bowel movement, irritation, itching skin, limb pain, metabolic disorder, mood changes, mood depression, muscle cramps, muscle pain, nausea, neck pain, neuralgia. Then you have neurasthenia, numb limbs, phosphenes, rash, restlessness, skin burning, skin redness, skin tingling, sleep disturbance, stress, sweating, swollen eyes, swollen joints, which is, what are swollen joints? That's arthritis. Tachycardia, tenseness, tiredness, toothache, trembling. Well, there's your tremors right there, trembling. Unfeelingness, vision blurring, vomiting, weariness. And these are just the ones listed in mainstream science. So people really need to get educated. The field sobriety test is completely irrelevant now because people are soaked in these frequencies. The damage is done. You could go out to the woods right now and it would literally take you probably 2 or 3 weeks before you really started to feel better. Your nervous system needs time to heal and come back to normal. So, you know, it is terrifying to me that people are being arrested for something that they are being exposed to every day, that they are out there telling you is completely and totally safe, and it isn't. It totally isn't. Listen to what that dude said at the end of that test that they did on Wi-Fi. I'll play it again, and then we're out of here.
These studies. Do you have Wi-Fi in your house?
No, I've been in the technology industry all my life, and I've never had Wi-Fi.
Because?
I just didn't feel it was right. I didn't feel it was safe. And my wife has been very actually forceful about not having that. Now, you can run a longer wire. It's a bit annoying.
So that's it for now. Look out for Charlie.